Aloha and welcome to the joint hearing of the Senate Committees on Government Operations, Judiciary, and Ways and Means. Today is Thursday, April 8th at 10 o'clock a.m. We are in conference room 211. Before proceeding with the hearing, a few housekeeping announcements. This hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings and live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we encounter major technical difficulties and must end it abruptly, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at a later time, and it will be posted on the legislative website. To accommodate everyone who registered to testify remotely, we will limit testimony to 2 minutes. The bill that's up today is House Bill 882, proposed Senate Draft 2, that was on the posted on the website. It relates to amendments on contracting for purchases of health and human services, the selection process and composition of the State Procurement Policy Board, increases to the small purchase threshold. It repeals the Community Council on purchase of health and human services and requires bid protests be resolved as expeditiously as possible by establishing time limits to resolve the protests. So we have testifying in person, State Procurement Office, Bonnie Kahakui. Is Bonnie? Hi, Bonnie, good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of all the committees. Bonnie Kahakui with the State Procurement Office. We previously submitted testimony on House Bill 882 in support of the bill, but would like to add a few comments regarding Part 2, the Procurement Policy Board, for your consideration that were not part of our written testimony. One of our challenges is to get new PPB members to ensure quorum. The current process requires convening a nominating committee of 4 persons, 2 selected by the governor, 1 by the state Senate President, and 1 by the Speaker of the House. This additional layer can be lengthy before applications are even reviewed. Eliminating the nominating committee would streamline the process, with a list of nominees going directly to the governor for selection and confirmation by the legislature. We hope that you will take this into consideration when you are amending the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Oh, let's move on first. Next person up is representing the DAGS, Department of Accounting and General Services. Chris Kinimaka. Is Chris on? Or, oh, I see the comptroller. Kurt Odaguro.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Kurt Odaguro, comptroller. DAGS offers written testimony and offers comments, and happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Department of Human Services, Kathy Betts. Is Kathy on?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Joseph Campos, Deputy Director for Department of Human Services. The department stands on its written testimony in opposition to the bill and providing comments. Thank you.
Next is Catholic Charities, Hawaii. I see Betty Lou Larson. Betty?
Good morning. This is Betty Lou Larson representing Catholic Charities, Hawaii. We'll stand on our written testimony providing comments on the bill. Thank you.
And, Department of Transportation.
Good morning,
Lynn,
chairs, vice chairs, and members. Lynn Araki-Regan on behalf of the State Department of Transportation. We stand by our written testimony in support of Part 2 of this bill. As reflected in the testimony, we do support the time limitations on the protest response, as well as recommend amending the protest bond amount. Joining me today are subject matter experts from our highways and airports divisions, as well as our contracts office, to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify remotely? Okay, members, questions? Okay, I do have one of Department of Human Services. Is Kathy or? Oh no, Joseph. Hi. You are in opposition to Part 2. Because how many bid protests have you had in DHS? Are these?
I don't have that information readily available, but I can get that information for you.
Okay, what we're looking at is construction contracts. Does DHS have any of these?
For construction contracts, I believe we do not have at the moment.
Okay. So going back to DAGs, to the comptroller. So the time frame you're saying that might be a problem, these are for contracts. These are, if this was limited to construction contracts of, say, a limit like $3 million or more, how many bid protests have you had in that amount? I know you mentioned quite a few contracts that you as well as Department of Transportation that I'll ask next.
Right, so Chair, if I may ask Chris Kinimaku, who's our subject matter expert, she's also on the Zoom call, if she can answer your question on the number of protests.
So in the last year, Chris, hi.
Hi, all of the chairs, vice chairs, and members of all three committees. Within that realm, because the scope is broadened now for all construction contracts and not just competitive seal proposals or procurement of professional services, as is currently written, we have at least a dozen protests a year that we have to resolve. Some of those protests are multiple protests, especially for larger jobs, that become very cumbersome for us to be able to give due process within a tight time frame.
So so Chris, if we had it for construction contracts under 103D, 203, and let's see, 203, what was that Bonnie said, 203?
I believe 303 and
303 and
304.
302 and 303, and it's for $3 million or over, would that limit the numbers that you would have before you?
No, unfortunately not, because 302 is competitive seal bidding. That's the typical type of invitation for bid. 303 is competitive seal proposals, and that's the request for proposals. And that covers the bulk of construction procurement that we do, at least 90% of the work. 302 especially is the low bid process, and that one, I would suspect for most departments, is the bulk of all protests.
So so an average per year, how many would you have of 3 million and over with 302 and 303 bid protests?
We're still talking about a dozen
A
because
dozen? Okay, thank you.
There are larger contracts that get protests.
Okay, so I want to go back to Department of Transportation. Similar question. How many bid protests do you have an average per year of a contract of $3 million or more construction?
I think Sandy Inoue is on the phone who can best answer that question. Sandy?
Hi, Kathy? Oh,
Sandy?
Sandy?
I see you're on the phone.
So an average per year, Sandy, how many bid protests have you had of construction contracts of $3 million or more? I think you're muted, or
I can hear him soft.
can you get closer to the mic, or we can't hear you?
I think the more pertinent question should be, of these 3 million or more, how long has it taken you folks to deal with these protests? Because that's what we're dealing with, not the number, but, I mean, you know.
Okay, so let's say the number, and then let's see how long it takes for you, on average, to hear the bid protest.
She's on mute, I think.
Sandy, can you raise your volume?
I have it at 100.
Can you?
Maybe just
Can
vote
you-
it out.
Okay.
That's in conference.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, we will move on, I think.
Chair, if I could get back to you in a minute or so.
Okay.
Just move on.
I'll
So
get that
let's,
answer to
we'll
you.
move on then.
You can get it in writing.
Okay.
Put it in
we ha-
writing.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got, let's see. We have written comments from Focused on Part 1, Comments from Hano, Lisa Maruyama, comments. NAN Inc. In support. The General Contractors Association with comments. And the Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition in support. Anyone else? Any questions, members? Okay, at this point, let's take a recess and return for decision-making. We are reconvening the 10 o'clock joint hearing on government operations, judiciary, and ways and means committees for decision-making on House Bill 882, proposed Senate Draft 2. The chair recommends that we pass with the following amendments. First, amend the policy board composition to add a representative with experience in the field of procurement related to construction, as suggested by the General Contractors Association. Second, as a way to fill all positions on the policy board and streamlining the nomination process by eliminating the nominating committee, instead having qualified names for various positions be sent directly to the governor. 3, clarify that the bid protest timelines in Part 2 apply only to construction projects of $3 million or more under Sections 103D, 302, and 103D, 303. And given that the deadlines for protests are filed in 5 days, are required to be filed in 5 days, and decisions made by the Office of Administrative Hearings in 45 days, in the courts in 30 days, will maintain the 75-day deadline for decisions by the purchasing agency, but will increase the timeline for extenuating circumstances from 30 days to 45 days. And any technical non-substantive amendments, we have a defective date.
Chair,
yes.
are we accepting the proposed SD2 and then making those amendments, or are we just?
We're accepting proposed Senate Draft 2, and we're making the, and those are part of the amendments
Okay.
and amendments
Okay.
to that. Correct. Any other questions?
No, okay, so
Comments?
recommendation on HB 882 for government ops is to pass an amendment. Chair Milwaukee,
Votes aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Gabbard,
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Recommendation adopted.
For the Judiciary
Okay.
Committee, Chair Rhodes.
JDC members, same recommendation. Any questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members HB 882 with amendments. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I'm sorry. Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair recommendation adopted.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ways and
For
means, same
Ways and Means.
recommendation. Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator English,
Aye.
Senator Inoue,
Aye.
Senator Kanuha,
Aye.
Senator Kidani,
Aye.
Senator Moriwaki,
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro, is that you?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, I see your
Aye.
phone. Yeah.
Senator Taniguchi is, oh, there he is.
Aye.
No, she's walking around her house, look like.
Senator Wakai
Yes.
and Senator Vela.
Aye.
Recommendation adopted.
There being no other business, this concludes the joint hearing. Thank you, everyone.
You. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties. So we're calling the 10 a.m. Just Ways and Means decision-making to order. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to all our Senate meetings on our live and demand video page. In the event we have to end this hearing due to technical difficulties, we'll reconvene on Friday, April 9th, 10:31 in this room. a public notice will be posted on our website. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to our website. Okay, first item, House Bill 613. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, adopt LRB tech amendments, and blank the appropriation. Any discussion? If not, chair votes aye.
Okay, with 10 members present, are there any reservations? Is there any opposition? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, next item, House Bill 1322. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, adopt LRB tech amendments, and amend to remove the requirement that the JABSOM representative be specifically from the Department of Native Hawaiian Health. Any discussion?
Okay, with 10 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Recommendation is adopted.
Okay, I'm going to adjourn, and then we're going to go into our 10:05 with judiciary. Adjourn.
All right, Chair, and if you're ready, I can start the countdown again.
Is it me? Okay. Yes.
Right, rising back in 5, 4,
Okay, calling to order the joint WAM-JDC decision making. So recommendation is to, on House Bill 1311, recommendation is to pass with amendments, adopt LRB tech amendments, and blank the appropriation. Any discussion? Not, chair votes aye.
Okay, with 10 members present, are there any reservations? Any opposition? Opposition, Senator Vella. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
JDC members, same recommendation. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members passing with amendments, Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, adjourn. And then for Ways and Means, we have a 10:10 agenda. Okay, calling to order the 10:10 Ways and Means decision making. So the recommendation for HB 774 is to pass with amendments. Will amend to state that all existing and future HCDA districts shall have separate boards to manage the matters of each community district, with a statewide management board to manage staff and agency resources, comprised of a member from each district board, and will include staggered terms. We shall also include transition language so that all incumbents complete their terms. Any discussion? If not, chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. With 10 members present, any reservations? Reservation, Senator Taniguchi. Anyone else? Any opposition? Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. Adjourned.